everyone.
How's everybody doing?
And welcome. Tonight we're talking about how to keep kids off of porn. Pornography is pervasive in our society and it's damaging to kids, and we're going to get all into that. But first of all, for those of you who don't know me, or if you're not watching this on Facebook, I'm Heather Paris of LiveInspiredNow.com, and I'm joined with by my lovely co-host, who is also my husband, Thad Paris.
Hi there.
Also of LiveInspiredNow.com.
Yeah. I didn't want to repeat all that.
Oh, okay. So tonight we want to talk about how to keep kids off of porn. Before I get started though, I want to tell you guys that some of our best content happens in our weekly email. We send one email every Tuesday, Transformational Tuesday. And if you're not on that list, you're not...
How do we get on the list?
Yeah, if you're not on the list, you're not seeing the best of the best, right? So go to liveinspirednow.com and just put your name and email address in, and you'll get a little gift for doing that. I'm going to put it in the thing if you want, or do you want to type it in? So yeah, please do that. liveinspirednow.com, type in your name and your address, and you'll get the best of the best of our stuff, including a little free gift, free video series. So tonight we're talking about how to keep kids off of pornography, how to keep them safe from porn on the internet. Why are we talking about this tonight? Because it's the hush-hush thing that nobody wants to talk about, but everyone asks me about. You know, everyone's like, oh my God, I caught my kid looking at porn. And we're not talking about, I saw that Eleni said define kid. We're not talking about just older children. I mean, this is something that people are calling me and saying their 6-year-old has seen porn, or their first grader has, you know, had an experience at school with pornography and things like that.
Right.
So that, you know, it's not just parents that aren't watching their kid. It's every kid. If you have a child, if you own a little person, they are vulnerable to this because it's everywhere, right?
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's never too early to start talking about things that are important regarding their sexuality. That doesn't mean you have to explain to them what pornography is when they're 6 years old, but it is important that they understand body terms and the importance of different body parts.
As well as good pictures and bad pictures, which we'll talk about.
Absolutely.
But the first thing that I want to talk about is just talking, literally just talking to your kids, and how important that is. Let me say this, and I say this all the time, but let me say this. Your relationship is the best safeguard to protect your kids from anything. Not just porn,
Right.
but from drugs, from drug dealers, from peer pressure, from bullying, everything. Your relationship, your solid, healthy relationship with your child is their best defense. So it's absolutely vital, essential that you have a good, open, honest relationship with your kids. They know that they can trust you and come to you if they need help. They know that they can talk to you and that you're always available for them. Your relationship is number one. It's the best antidote to prevent them from any kind of destructive behaviors or decisions, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
I thought it was too, and then I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, that's okay. So the number one thing that you want to do is talk to your kids and talk to them about what your expectations are, what your family values are, things that are, you know, in your family.
Yeah, so it's not an easy conversation, but it gets easier if you're building that relationship ahead of time. So this isn't going to be the first conversation you have with your kids, but if you built that solid relationship, then even the difficult conversations get easier. And I think...
Yeah, it's not going to be your only conversation.
Right, sure. And it helps a lot of people if they understand why we're having the conversation. So
it helps kids, for sure.
Right, so why is it important to talk about this with your kids beforehand?
What do you mean? You can't just say you can't watch porn because I said so?
Yeah.
Because I said so is not a valid answer for a child. Kids want to know. And so it's so vitally important that you explain to your kids why porn is unhealthy, why it's actually damaging to them. And here are some things. I jotted down some things, some talking points for you, if you will. So number one is that it sets unrealistic expectations for real relationships. So, you're whatever, and also, this probably goes without saying, but you're going to use age appropriate language. I mean, we're talking very general this evening. If you have little kids, this is appropriate. Just use age appropriate language. But it sets unrealistic expectation for real relationships. So you're watching pornography and that's what you think it is because you've never had sex before because you're 13 and you're just becoming aware of your sexuality. And now you're watching porn and you think this is what real sex is.
Right.
Totally unrealistic.
Yeah, and so scientifically there's your body produces dopamine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're creating that artificially through porn, then it makes it even more difficult to for your body to create that naturally, right? So the same with drugs. When you're using an artificial stimulant like that, then creating it naturally becomes more difficult. And of course, that can lead to things like erectile dysfunction or even depression and loneliness.
And addiction, like there's some debate right now whether pornography is an actual addiction, can be classified as an addiction. The fact is, whether it's classified as an addiction or not, it becomes an addictive behavior that people repeatedly do because they're getting that rush of dopamine in their brain when they engage in pornography.
Right.
So even if it's not a classified addiction, it's still something, it becomes habitual, and then you want to keep doing it because you want to keep getting that delivery of dopamine, something that you could get from other activities.
Absolutely.
So those are some reasons. These are reasons why you should explain to your kids why it's unhealthy. Don't just say because I said so, but tell them the stuff, right? It can also cause anxiety in people because it creates a real separation between what's real and what's make believe or fantasy. And a perfect example, although way less whatever harsh, is when you read a good book or you watch a movie and at the end you're like, oh, now what? Like what just happened? Like I know for me, like I get so into my books when I'm reading, when they're done, I'm like, I gotta go back into the real world now? What do you mean Harry Potter isn't real? I can't make things, use my magic wand and make things disappear.
Right.
Because you get so intense and involved in things, and that's true with pornography, especially true because it is so sensationalized and so dramatic and fanatical or whatever the word might be. So you can also start thinking about it all the time. Tell the kids this is something that you're going to become obsessive over. It's going to become something that you can't stop thinking about and that you're constantly doing or trying to do.
There has been a lot of research, the difference between men and women, and men are known to be far more visual. And so for a man, those, the visualizations, it's not something that you can just hit the delete button on. And so those images stay with you. So.
Yeah, that stuff gets stuck up in your head. Put good stuff in, you get good stuff out. You put bad stuff out, you get... Not that, and that's another thing we have to talk about too. Talk to them about bodies, and naked bodies are not bad at all.
Right.
But there's a difference between good and bad pictures. Let's wait until after for that. So that's some of the reasons that you can explain why porn is unhealthy for kids. Kids aren't stupid. They can understand this stuff. Yeah. I teach this stuff all the time to young people. So they are very capable of understanding. So the second thing is to make porn as inaccessible as possible. Just do your best. You cannot make it completely 100% inaccessible. It's impossible. It's just impossible. But we've come up with a few strategies for you that you can definitely try.
So technology can be your friend and your enemy here, right?
Wizard.
So there's all kinds of software packages out there for your home router that you can, or like antivirus software. They all have parental control modules now, so you can really lock down what the kids have access to.
I read that and I learned that you can put a parental block on your router so that the Wi-Fi doesn't allow certain things. I think that's probably what they do at schools. Like a lot of schools, they have Facebook blocked and things like that. So
Right.
find
It
yourself
does-
a Thad that knows how to do that stuff.
Yeah, it does require some time and effort to configure and then monitor and track, but it's your kids you're talking about. If you're not
Exactly.
willing to invest time in keeping them safe while they're online, then you shouldn't have a computer or a smartphone
Or a kid.
A kid.
Or a kid for that matter. If you're not willing to keep them safe and do what it takes to keep them healthy, then anyway, I digress. We're getting silly here.
Sure.
So yeah, use your parental controls, all that stuff. Check your Netflix queue. I don't know how to do it, but Thad put like a kid Netflix, like different users or whatever.
Yeah, you can
so
give the kids their own cues, and so they can put shows that are appropriate for their age in there.
yeah. Oh, and here's one of my favorite things, and that is to watch TV with your kids. If your kids are going to watch TV, watch it with them, because that's another thing. You think like, oh, it's okay because it's on regular TV or it's on cable. It's not like they're watching HBO, it's just regular TV. Let me tell you something. If you haven't seen Vampire Diaries or Gossip Girl or any of those types of shows, go and just pick any episode and watch it without your kids and plan to be horrified, because it is nothing short of soft porn. Now, there's kids drinking and drugging and carrying on and having sex and screwing every, person that they come across in the woods, and just totally, I mean, it's filth. It's just filth.
Right,
And I'm
so-
no prude, trust me, but
So option 1 is kill your television. Option
throw it
2
out the door.
is watch television with your children, and
Yeah.
that gives you opportunity to build relationships as long as you talk about it.
yeah, discuss it, like discuss what's happening. If you're going to watch it with them and discuss what's happening.
Yeah.
Or watch it with them, realize, holy hell, this is so inappropriate, and then don't let them watch that show, right? Whatever it is.
And come up with a healthy alternative to fill that time with.
Yeah, and whatever we're not going to discuss values, because everyone's values are different.
Right.
What's inappropriate in our house is probably not appropriate in someone else's house, and vice versa. So know your ratings and enforce them. We have, like, at this age you can watch PG, and this kid can watch PG-13, and that's it. And so know what those ratings are.
Yeah.
Oh, keep computers in the family zone, not in the bedrooms.
Yep.
Easy. Hold
Yeah,
on.
computers and TV.
Hey, the dog is on my bathrobe.
I
I
see
have
that.
a bathrobe problem. Will you get him? I don't want him on my bathrobe. Such a silly diversion. Sorry to interrupt here, but the dogs have this issue with my bathrobe. I took it off and I put it on the chair, and they like to curl up in it, and one likes to suck on it. It's weird. Anyway, okay, sorry about that. Sorry, back. Time
Here
out.
we are.
Now we're back. Sorry for that. That was a commercial break. Speaking of commercials can be just as inappropriate as TV shows, so be aware of that too. So the computer's in the family zone, not in the bedroom with the door shut, check the history.
Yeah.
Check the history on your computer. It's right there, or the phones, right? Oh, did we talk about getting a dumb phone?
We did not.
Kids
but that's
do
a great
not.
idea.
Yeah, kids don't need smartphones. They can literally survive with dumb phones. I survived my whole childhood without a phone. In fact, when we first moved to upstate New York in, I think it was 1985, they didn't even have enough landlines. We had moved from a more suburban area, so I had never heard of this rural stuff. I never
Party
lived in the country.
lines.
Yeah, when we first moved to upstate New York, we had a party line. So there's 10 families on one phone. You pick up the phone and you could hear other people talking. I had never heard of that my whole life. And luckily, it didn't last for very long, and then they added in more phone lines. But whatever, I survived with a freaking party line. That's terrible.
Bring back the party lines. That's
And
the
I'm-
answer.
No way. I'm all for my smartphone. I absolutely love it. But kids don't need them, right? And if they do have them, monitor them. And for God's sake, stop giving 5-year-olds cell phones. They don't need it. I mean, okay, teenagers, whatever, but
That's a topic for another night.
another night. Sorry, I digress. Okay,
Have the talk.
Number 3, have the talk, right? talking about sex, and have the talk early. Talk all the time. Have it early. Let your kids know that their sexual urges and desires are absolutely normal. If you think sexual urges or sexual desires are deviant or sinful or wrong, please unfriend my ass right now, because it is absolutely biology. You know, sex is normal and natural, but talk to your kids about what you think is appropriate in your house, your values or whatever. Do not demonize sexual urges, because that's normal. They can't help that, folks. They have hormones. It's totally normal.
So do your research ahead of time. Really investigate your values and where they come from, and whether you align with those, and whether they're backed by science as far as
I'm going to tell them what our values are, because it's right in my book anyway. If you haven't read my book is called...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's not. There's tons of stuff in there. My book is called Live Inspired Now, and you can get it on Amazon. Anyway, so our rule of thumb in this house has always been that you wait until you're at least 18, out of high school, and in a long-term committed relationship before engaging in sexual intercourse. Not that they don't have urges. Of course they have urges and desires before that. And we have always, or myself have always, encouraged masturbation. There you have it. I said it out loud. Tell them to go in the shower or go in their room and have some private time. Do whatever they got to do. But what they do in there is their, you know, that's their thing, their private time or whatever. Right. But encouraging them to do that and to take care of their own needs is certainly a lot better than them turning to pornography or having sex prematurely before they're emotionally ready to do that.
Right.
Now that's just our what we do in this house. Your values are totally yours.
Yeah, so
all I ask is that
that's about separating sexual or natural desires and separating that from relationships and intercourse.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. All I ask is that you please do not demonize kids for having natural urges, because that's normal behavior. Just help direct them with your own values and morals as to what to do with that energy.
Right. Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, talk about good and bad images. I say museum naked versus porn naked. So, you know, you see a naked statue or a naked picture or whatever, the body isn't dirty or bad in any way.
Right.
However, there's a difference between a naked body or an image or painting that you see versus, you know, something that's up, like an up close doing it shot, you know what I mean,
right.
on a porn show. Oh, I just got a message. I was checking that. Talk to them about what the differences are, about how the body is natural and normal and absolutely beautiful and okay. But looking at people having sex and watching that does all the things that we talked about in the beginning, right?
Right.
So
again, that's separating the science or the body, the biology of
right.
humans from the relationship and the sexual intercourse that's associated with it.
Exactly. And if you guys have any questions, by the way, you can post them in the comments or just send me a message and I'll answer them anonymously. I won't say who, but the next note, masturbation is absolutely okay and normal, and it's a great way to be sexual without compromising your values or your safety.
Right.
Just have the conversation. It's totally okay.
And speaking of the conversation, you want to make sure that you're using the appropriate terms. These are real body parts we're talking about. Use the real term.
It's okay to say penis and vagina.
Yeah, it totally is.
It's absolutely okay.
Because, and that's really, when you use the proper terminology, you're just simplifying the situation. When you come up with your family's word for...
Hoo-ha.
Yeah, there you go. Hoo-ha.
Vajayjay.
Vajayjay.
Vagine.
All you're doing is confusing the poor kid. He's like, what are they talking about? You know, if you're using the same, if you have standardized the terminology, everybody's using the same terms. That way when they have questions, you know exactly what they're talking about.
Well, it takes the allure out of it too. It brings it down to biology, which is what it really is, biology. Takes the allure out, but it also makes it easier for kids to talk about it because it's not this secret or funny, embarrassing thing, you know?
Right.
It's just like if your kid came home and said, "Mom, I have a bloody nose," you know, they could come home and say, you know, whatever, somebody tried to touch my penis. I mean, you want kids to be fluent in sexual language so that they can tell you if something has happened to them in a bad way, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's when they're little, talk to them about, and this went out in the email today too. Talk to your kids while they're little about appropriate touching. You know, it's okay for mommy and daddy to change the diaper. It's not okay for anyone else. You know, it's not okay for other people to touch their parts or whatever.
Right.
And, you know, give them those words so that they can verbalize anything, God forbid, that they might experience that's going to be really harmful to them. So thank you for bringing that up. That's a really good one. And you know what? You have to have the talk, because if you don't have the talk, they will learn. They will 100% learn this stuff, and they'll probably learn it from somebody on the bus or at recess, and it won't be accurate. It absolutely will not be accurate, right?
Right. It's not going to be accurate, and it won't be in line with your value system.
Another thing you can do too, it's not on my list, but you know, talk to your kids about how to say no to other kids. You know, so some kid has their, you know, some 7-year-old has an iPhone, which is like pretty common these days. The 7-year-old's
Right.
out on recess, rather than sliding on the slide and, you know, swinging in the swings, they're behind a tree looking at porn and showing all their friends what they found on their smartphone, right?
Right.
Teach your kid to say, you know what, that I'm not looking at that. I don't want to see that. Nope. Or even teach them to say, my mom's a crazy bitch. She will whoop my ass. I am not looking at that, and walk away. Like whatever excuse they have
Maybe
to
not
use.
those words at 7, but
Right, whatever. You know, that's enough. Okay, so we're gonna talk about additional strategies here. We're pulling it to an end here. So, I want to talk about that one. Oh yeah, allow kids to express themselves in less dangerous ways by allowing them to get away with some things. So you know what? Maybe the thing that they're getting away with is swearing. I'm totally okay. None of our kids swear, by the way. None of them. And I have the biggest potty mouth ever. Like, people might not realize that about me, because I don't typically swear on Facebook or in, you know, whatever. You got to go to my Instagram for that, which I drop some, you know, salty language. But, you know, allowing kids to get away with some other things like, no, I really hate pink hair. No, but fine, you can dye your hair pink, but I hate it. Let them think that you really hate it. Like, I could care less what color my kids dye their hair. I could care less. But I always make a big fuss about it and pretend like I don't really like it, so they feel like they're being rebellious, because it's natural, normal, and age appropriate for young people to want to rebel.
Right.
And so give them healthy ways to rebel. Let them dye their hair pink rather than going and like looking at porn, you know, down in the basement when mom and dad are at work or whatever. Let them do something else that's risky without the risk, like dyeing their hair or swearing. So,
Right.
you know, swear words. I always tell my kids, you know, I don't care if you swear or not, but do it with your friends, not in front of adults. None of my kids are all respectful and very good that way.
Right.
So, yeah. So some additional strategies: give kids something to do. If they're bored, they're gonna look at porn, right? So martial arts, sports, service projects. My absolute favorite: get your kids volunteering. If your kids aren't volunteering, they're missing out on a huge part of their personal development as they grow into an adult. And so are you, frankly. You should be volunteering too. Sorry if I sound sassy tonight, but I'm feeling sassy.
right on.
You know, give kids responsibilities. They can handle it. If they can like download porn and like do all this other stuff, they're resilient. They know how to do stuff.
Yeah, kids are very capable of
They
figuring
sure
things
are.
out.
They can do a lot of stuff. Kids are smart.
Give them a project that stretches them, and they'll grow right into it.
Sex is funny. Feel free to laugh about it. It doesn't have to be like this horrible, serious, you know, sit down, son, we're going to have a heart-to-heart. Like, just have a conversation about it, and just Keep it light. You know, the word masturbation is funny and talking about it is embarrassing and awkward. It's okay to say that. Hey kid, this is really embarrassing and awkward, but, and then have that conversation. And if you do catch them downloading porn, looking at porn, or doing something inappropriate, don't lose your shit. If you lose your shit and ground them or punish them or make fun of them or anything, you're really just missing a huge opportunity to have a teaching moment and a growing moment with your kid.
Because we have this weird way of weighting different activities in life. You know, sometimes this one seems to get a heavier weight for whatever reason. So, you know, if you use that and you kind of lose your cool and blow it, you've missed an opportunity to discuss it and teach. So kids all learn from every situation that they're faced with. And so you can either help them learn or you can detract them from learning by like losing your cool, and then they just get confused and they're like, whoa, what's going on? I had no idea what's happening here, and it just seemed to get worse and I don't know why. Because until kids are given that weighting scheme, they don't know. Everything is a level playing field, right?
Yeah. I've decided this is my sassy hat.
That's the sassy hat? What's mine?
I don't know, just your hat. Anyway, I want to give one final tip, one additional strategy. But first, and this is my favorite strategy, but first I just want to remind you to please go to liveinspirednow.com. Drop in your name and email address. You're not going to get tons of spam and tons of email. You're going to get one email a week, and it's going to contain some of my very best content that I share only at my website with my subscribers, with our subscribers.
Join the club.
Yeah, join the club. So it's free, and you're going to get some good stuff. What? Anyway, what else was I going to say? That was it? Okay. So my last additional strategy for keeping your kids safe is to model a healthy and happy and loving relationship. Because first of all, you're the best example that they have of what they should look for in their life, right?
Right.
So model intimacy, you know, not sex, intimacy, like lovingness, holding hands, hugging, kissing, you know, sometimes a little slap on the ass now and then.
Hey.
But if kids see you having a loving, caring relationship, they're going to want that too. And so if they do happen to take a peek at some pornographic stuff, that's not going to align with what they know to be valuable.
Right.
So yeah, model a loving relationship with your spouse. And if you don't have one, you know, find people that do and hang around with them. Aw. You're gonna get my lipstick. Anyway, I am so glad that you have joined us. If you're joining us on Facebook, thank you. If you're not watching this on Facebook, please be sure to follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, what have you. But go to the website, liveinspirednow.com. Drop in your name and your email address, and I'll send you something free. And as always, feel free to reach out. Heather@liveinspirednow.com. Heather@liveinspirednow.com is my email.
Or guess what mine is? Thad@liveinspirednow.com.
Yes. So please feel free to reach out. We're very easy to get a hold of. We love to hear from you, and we love to answer your questions. And it's always anonymous as well. So I hope you have a wonderful evening. Let's all endeavor to keep our kids safe and protect them and do what we can. And if you need my help, please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you and have a good night.
See ya.
Bye. Oh, I got it.